Welcome to a new video. Earlier on Instagram, I asked what you guys wanted to see. Did you want me to share with you a typical training day, or did you want to learn how to make my infamous kettlebell crunch? And it was pretty much unanimous that the kettlebell crunch won out. And normally I keep this recipe top secret, but I'm going to reveal it today for you guys. So don't share it with anybody, but definitely make it. I'm going to be showing you how to make my peanut butter kettlebell crunch. This is actually a flavor that I don't offer anymore, so consider yourself super special because now you can make it whenever you want. What the heck is kettlebell crunch? This is something that I developed during quarantine last year, and it's practically what Dan and I live off of for our snacks. I put it in my shakes. I eat it on the go as just like a granola bar. It is grain-free unless you consider quinoa a grain, which is actually a pseudo grain, more of a seed, gluten-free, super rich in protein, healthy fats, healthy carbs. And I don't know, we're just addicted to this healthy sweet treat, and I want to share it with you guys. So here's what you're gonna need. I have my mixer. You don't have to have a mixer. You can use just a bowl and a spoon, but it makes it so much easier. You do need a blender, quinoa. We go through a lot of this because I actually sell this every single week. So if you're interested, comment down below and I can give you details, or click on the link in the description. You need chia seeds, and then you need mixed nuts. These are unsalted. I've already gone ahead and chopped them up, but I still like to keep them in chunks. So it's much thicker. I mean, see, there's even like a whole almond still in here. It's much thicker than a flour. So you want to keep it super chunky if that's what you like in your granola. And then I also, because we're making peanut butter flavor, I have some peanuts that I have gone ahead and ground up as well. Now you can use like a PB2, but because when you put your liquid in that, the PB2 will soak that up and it can leave your granola super dry. So that's why I just like to grind up and make a little bit of some peanut flour. And then I'm also using protein. This is Gnarly Whey vanilla protein. You can use whatever you have on hand, and you don't have to, but it adds a really great flavor and sweetness to the granola. But if you don't want to add a protein supplement in there, you don't have to. And then last, and this is the secret to making perfect granola, is I have a banana that is already blended up into like smoothie form. And so it's one banana and a third of a cup of peanut butter. And I'll just mix that together. I know for sure we're not going to use all of this, but anything that I have left over, I just put it right back in the freezer, and the next batch that I make, grab it out, thaw it out, and it's ready to rock and roll. Let's get to putting this together. I've got a baking sheet that is aligned with some parchment paper, and my oven turned on to 320 degrees. That is very important, 320 degrees. Don't put it at 350, it'll burn it. We're gonna do 2 cups of those mixed nuts. Then I'm going to do 1 cup of the peanut butter, or the peanut flour. Bam. Then we're gonna do a half a cup of the quinoa. And you can pretty much customize this to however you want. We just are really big fans of quinoa. It's a great source of fiber, great source of protein. But if you don't have quinoa, you could also use oats. But I'm gonna take a stab in the dark and say if you use oats, you'll probably end up cooking it for a little bit less time because it'll cook faster. And then I'm gonna do 1/4 of a cup of chia seeds. Toss that all in there. A secret, you guys, I actually have a protein scoop in here for my chia seeds. That way, when I'm making it, you know, oftentimes like chia seeds can get stuck to your containers and your scoopers, and that drives me crazy. So I just leave it out. And then I'm gonna do 2 big scoops of vanilla protein to add a little bit of sweetness. So 1 and 2. And this is also the time where if you wanted to add like dried blueberries, you can also use dehydrated. I wouldn't use like dried strawberries because those still have quite a bit of moisture, but like is that right? Air dried strawberries are super crispy. You can also put in raisins, would be great, chopped up dates, but just realize that that's going to increase your sugar load. So now, we're already almost done with this, guys. That's how easy this freaking recipe is. I'm gonna put on my paddle. Already got it turned on. Just give it a little mixy mix. Okay, turn that off. You guys should really feel special. I have not shared. I've had people email me saying, I can't get your kettlebell crunch because you don't ship it out of the country. I ship it continentally in the US, but if you live outside, unfortunately, I can't do that. They're like, so can you send me the recipe? And I'm like, you guys, this is a private secret recipe. This is top secret stuff. But like I said, considering that this flavor is out of commission nowadays, and in its place, I have put in almost oatmeal raisin cookie crunch. It tastes exactly like an oatmeal cookie, but without the oatmeal. All right, so I have the peanut butter and the banana all mashed up. Now the banana is super important because it has just enough sugar to help hold it all together and give it that crunch as it cooks up. So that's basically just taking the place of using maple syrup or honey that most places do. And this way it's just keeping that sugar content a little bit lower. And I don't like super sweet, so to me this makes it perfect. So what I'm gonna do is start running this on low, and I'm just gonna add about 1/4 of a cup of this mix and see how it blends together. And I'm only gonna add just enough so that it makes it a little sticky, a little tacky throughout the combination, throughout the entire bowl, without overdoing it. You basically, once it creates like a dough, you're done. Once it's done, I'll take it off and show you what it looks like. Here's what we got. Can you see inside that? So it's pretty moist and pretty much sticks together. So now the hard work is done. I mean, that's pretty much it. What I am gonna do is fill up this container with just a little bit of water to show you guys a trick to doing this. I've got my parchment lined cooking sheet, and I like to make mine pretty thick. Now the rule with this is to pack it. You know, normally when you're making granola, what I don't like about most granolas is like it's super loose and you can get like a chunk of oatmeal here and a chunk of oatmeal there. But I like chunks of granola. If I want it in pieces, I'll break it up in pieces. So what I do is I mush this into one big block. And the water is there to help, so water, my southern accent, is there to help so that it doesn't stick to the spoon. And it also gives us a little bit more moisture if you need it. All right, there we go. So this, all packed together. Bam, right? So it's super compacted, super tight. What I'm gonna do now, slide it into the oven. I'm getting off camera here. And I'm gonna cook this for about 13 minutes, and then we'll take it out and I'll show you what to do next. Ta-da! With the magic of technology, it's ready. Well, it's halfway ready. So it's come out of the oven, and just like a cake, it kind of gets a little bit golden brown. Don't worry, you guys. I've let this sit out for about 5 minutes, so it's not super hot on my hands, though I probably should have tested that before I just grabbed it. It's a little brown around the edges, and to the touch, it feels like a granola bar, but it's not quite cooked all the way through. So it cooked for exactly 14 minutes, and now what I'm gonna do is, the reason I wanted it to cool just a little bit was so that I can use my hands. If you want to do it in squares, you could just cut it right into squares right now and then flip each square over. So what I'm going to do is just kind of play around with this, break it up into pieces, flip it over. And the great thing about having it on parchment paper, you can kind of pull the parchment paper up to grab different edges of it. So flip it and reverse it. And then you just do this around the whole thing. Just making sure to turn all the pieces upside down. You can make them as small or as big as you want. And then what I'm gonna do, so see how big these pieces come out, you guys? This is freaking, oh, it's so good. It smells so good. I wish, you know, you'd think with technology that they'd be able to share smell by now, but not quite yet. And so my thickness, if you can see, it's about probably 1/4 of an inch, maybe a little bit thicker, but you can see all those nuts and the quinoa in there and the chia seeds. You can smell the peanuts. That's what I'm talking about. So I'm just gonna continue doing this, and then I'm gonna stick it back into the oven for only about 5 to 8 minutes. You don't want it to get overly brown. And then, I'm just going to, once it like starts to slowly brown up a little bit on this side, I will turn the oven off and leave it open a little bit, but keep the granola in there to cool so that it can finish crunching up, because you want all the moisture to come out. And actually in the cooling process, it's kind of like a cookie. How you know when you first get a cookie out of the oven, it's still super soft, but as it cools, it crunches up a little bit. That's what happens with this granola. I'm back in the oven, and I'll be right back with the finished, for real, product. Can you guys read it? Here we go. Oh, it looks so good. And it is nice and brown just slightly on each side. Now the job is just to cool. But y'all, this is the secret. This is the secret recipe for Kettlebell Crunch. Don't share it, but make it. Comment down below if you make it. Let me know how it goes. And next week, I will be back with a fitness video. So be on the lookout for that. Comment below what kind of fitness stuff that you would like to see here, or any other crazy loud bird outside, or any other nutrition videos you'd like to see. Oh, and don't forget, subscribe and like this video so that you don't miss any future videos and be out of the loop. Being out of the loop is no fun. And check out fitwomensweekly.com. So good.